2, 1.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Kendall, and I'm chairman of the Finance Committee. To my left is Mr. John Schweizer, member of the committee, and to my right, Mr. Todd Siebert. It is April 1st, and it is 5:20 in the afternoon. We have two items to come before Finance, so Mr. Titterington, who will be advise us on those.
I think I can do this.
Okay, thank you.
First item is asking for an amended application to the Ohio the Ohio Development Services Agency. This is with regards to the Lincoln Community Center capital project that you authorized, I believe, last year at the end of February. Wow. Was when we did the assessment. We did we sent the project out to bid. The bids exceeded the authorization of $120,000. When we did the bids, we had a base bid request, and we added some alternates as well, some water line work and some parking lot work, and so. Because we exceeded the bids, we would need to go out for bid or cut the project down. We are not recommending we cut the project down, but rather that we apply for additional authorization from ODSA. They would come out of our CDBG revolving loan fund surplus or balance. And we are asking that you authorize increasing it to $180,000. That way we can rebid both the base and the alternates and do the complete work that was included in the assessment that was done back in February of last year.
Okay, just on a real high level, can you just say what the base is so everybody is up to speed on it? And
sure. The base, off the top of my head, included some repairs to the roofs, or to the roof, some tuck pointing of the bricks, some windows, some internal mechanical HVAC. Some plumbing work, and then on top of that, and I believe there's some electrical work. Maybe mistaken on that. So that was the base, and then as I mentioned, there's some additional water line and some parking lot improvements that could be done if we had enough money to fund the alternates.
Okay, and the 180 will take care of everything.
That's what we're anticipating.
And that should have the building up to speed then at this point. I mean.
Yeah, we believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Sure. And we are requesting emergency legislation so that we can get this rebid as quickly as possible.
Is all this agreed upon by Lincoln Center? I know there was some discussions last time between you and Lincoln Center board, but everyone's on board with all these changes for this, the additional work?
This is the construction project. This
Right.
is not the lease agreement.
Okay.
That's coming next or
yeah.
later. But as far as this work goes, they're well aware, and of course they're in the audience, but they have supported this project from the beginning.
Okay.
So if we can do the additional work and do the alternates, it stands to reason that they'll support that as well.
Right. Okay, John, did you?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Titterington, is this in the form of a loan or a grant?
No, this is a grant. This would be us doing this to our building.
Okay, because it's coming out of the revolving loan fund. That's why I asked.
It is. It's just that's where the CDBG money is, and so we would seek authorization to use that money for this project rather than as additional revolving loans.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Nothing else?
No.
Todd, did you have anything else?
So they're not going to pay it back, so we'll just reduce our revolving loan fund by this amount?
Correct.
Is that?
Which is the way the original 120,000 was done, and this is not money to them. This is our building.
No, I understand.
So
we own the building.
We're improving our building with
building.
this money. Yep. Correct.
Just like we were the applicant for the revolving loan fund, only we're not paying it back.
Correct.
Because it's
Yeah.
one pocket to the other pocket.
Essentially, yes.
But we're not going to have any impact on our revolving loan fund for future projects.
No, we continue to receive principal and interest from our outstanding loans and grow that balance every month.
That's fine.
Anyone else?
Yes. Mr. Chairman. The bids that were open, no one has access to what those bids were other than the one submitting. The individual companies submitting, they don't know
No,
what those
they're-
amounts were.
Yes, those were open publicly, so those documents are public information.
Okay, at this point. And just to reiterate that the scope of the project has not decreased, that it is original as submitted? Is that
Correct. Correct. It would actually increase because we would include the alternates and
That-
then hopefully fund them. Yes.
That needs to be done also.
Correct.
Right.
Gotcha, okay, I understand, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else in the audience? What is it, John?
I'm good moving forward, emergency.
I'm good. That's fine.
Okay, unanimous, so let's move forward with that. Okay, second item?
Yes, the application to use the fund balance and also to bid.
Yeah, they're both folded into the same thing, just so you know.
We have to formally reapply.
So
to add
you're approving, or you're recommending that we reapply and we're able to then go
Right.
out to bid for that amount.
Right.
So it's kind of a two-parter.
On emergency basis, yes.
Correct.
Is anything immediate? Do they need any immediate repairs? Would we do those?
We have some bat repair, some bat remediation that we're going through right now, but we're doing that.
Little bat guano up there.
Well, we have actual
It's not part of
bats.
this.
I'm sure there's guano up there galore, but the bats have come out of hibernation, and so we need to get those removed so that then we can close up the roof. Otherwise, we're closing them and sealing them in the roof, and they tend to get a little upset with that.
So what's Shane do all day? Yeah.
He's got his broom.
Okay,
All right.
so,
Second item, again, is with regards to Lincoln Community Center. It is actually on Friday this week, on the 5th, the CIC will be entertaining a possible lease of our building to Lincoln Community Center, subject to the council's approval with the CIC, to create a formal lease for that building and that property. There has never been a lease, a formal lease between the city and the Lincoln Community Center. In fact, at various times, we've had a 99-year lease between the schools and the city for the ground under which, under the building. The city has owned the building, and then the parcel was previously owned, I guess that's to the west of it, has been owned, it was owned by the park board. That was all transferred over to city ownership. It's all been recorded as a single parcel. You might recall during the budget discussions, there were some concerns about the informality of the arrangement and how we might want to move forward, whether we would want to give the building to the Lincoln Community Center versus having a more formal lease. As a result of discussions with members of the board and with Mr. Carter, the decision was for the city to continue to own the property, but have a lease that spells out all of the conditions and all the quid pro quos between the considerations between the city and the Lincoln Community Center. The CIC, as you might know, is the easiest vehicle tool for us to use. to be able to own and operate and manage the leases without having to go through formal bid processes, et cetera. And so the request here tonight to kind of get ahead of it, if you will, is to authorize a lease between the city and the CIC, so that then the CIC can have an identical lease with the Lincoln Community Center. And what it would do is outline the conditions that the city puts on the CIC and wants to see in their contract. And those conditions would be identical to what we're doing right now, where we are maintaining the parking lot, the exterior of the building, the mowing of the property to the west of the building, and not the front yard, the backyard of the building, and not the front yard of the building, as well as we would commit to up to $4,000 a year, which exceeds what we've done in the past as far as miscellaneous purchases that we've made on behalf of the Lincoln Community Center for equipment, et cetera. We would also continue to pay the electric bill, the water, sewer, the storm water, et cetera. And it would be for a term of 10 years, which we agreed at a meeting last week would be beneficial to both parties so that we can continue to revisit our arrangement over every so often. 10 years would give Lincoln Community Center the opportunity to explore and possibly explore their vision and move forward with some of the capital plans that they have in mind, get some stability perhaps in operating the new building that they're that is one of the options, and then revisit how our arrangement is working to see if it needs to be tweaked one way or the other.
Okay, I guess I have two questions. The meeting last week was between Lincoln Community Center and their board and ourselves?
And just internal with us, yes.
Okay.
Jim, Mr. Dando and myself.
Okay.
The CIC then will meet on Friday to
Right.
discuss a contract, and that our recommendation to the CIC will be that if they do authorize it, it would be subject to council approval of a contract with the CIC.
Okay. What happens, I know we can play the what-if games all the time, but what if there is something catastrophic with the building or that would go wrong? Would that be the city's responsibility, or let's say a furnace goes out or something?
Yeah, well, that's all spelled out in the contract. The internal components are the responsibility of the Lincoln Community Center. As part of the agreement, both parties, we will continue to carry insurance on the building, and the Lincoln Community Center will also have insurance on the interior components and
Liability.
property, I guess.
Contents.
Contents, thank you.
I guess, Mr. Carter, is that the understanding of your board and agreement? If you want to come up here.
So Tom, first and foremost, yes, our board as well as myself have taken a lot of time to review the lease. One of the things I'm most proud of is, with the help of the mayor, Patrick Sue, the city, over the last 7 years, there wasn't a lot maybe of clarity or people educated on who owned the land, who owned the building. And I really believe, really moving forward through the CIC and through the real clear understanding of what responsibility is, it will allow the Lincoln Center to be able to budget, as well as use a preventive maintenance plan to be able to service our own equipment and have a clear understanding on an annual basis on what responsibility is and have a good working relationship. So I think that this will definitely help the center in terms of longevity. It will also help hopefully recruit the next great director, because one of the things in my 7 years that I struggled with the most was being able to to be able to understand what the expectation was in terms of what I can and can't do. And obviously, the city's been over backwards and done repairs and things that probably weren't clearly understood besides an old handshake agreement, but I think I know this will be documentation that has legal expert in terms of clarity on what each other's responsibilities are, and if something like a fire were to happen, the proper insurance and coverage, and us to understand at the center, worst case scenario, what we need to do to move forward. So I believe this will be a good mechanism.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else, any questions for Shane while he's up here?
No, so this is comparable to what we spoke about in February, you and I, a long time ago, and tried to define everything, and you're certain you're comfortable with this?
I'm very much so. And more, I'll say, Councilman Sue, even more important than me, I think our board, who is the one that makes the policies, procedures, and the governing body, they've looked over very fine-toothly. Alan May, who's been on the board longer than I've been alive, I know he's combed through it very clearly, and I know that he had some concerns that I think Patrick and as well as the help of all of us around the table, we definitely discussed. And one of the most important things I can say is that I know you guys know how important the center is. I mean, I just left there, and there wasn't a place to park at 9 o'clock this morning. There won't be a place to park around 7 o'clock tonight. And unless the Lincoln Center takes a very different road than what we've taken the last 7 years, I think that we always have value and a need the community. And as we can work together and have a lease that can be open 10 years, you guys as the leaders of the city, our board as the leaders of the center, I believe we'll be able to be on the same page. And if there's anything that happens, we can work those things out as they do. So I think it's the best situation. The other question was asked about the building. The building's in really good shape. I think that the projects that have been identified, I've really strategically tried to place the one we own, obviously, the CDBG project, because it's important, it protects the envelope, and it gives us hopefully another 100 years. So,
Okay.
any other questions, guys?
Nothing for Mr. Carter.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Shane. Do you have any?
Are we authorizing, is this to authorize the CIC to go into a contract, or is this for us to enter the lease agreement?
This is for us to have a basically a $1 lease agreement with the CIC, the condition that the CIC would then authorize, would then sign a lease with Lincoln Community Center.
Okay, thank you.
Todd, anything else?
No, I would just applaud Patrick and Sue, who's on the board, the mayor and Shane and Ms. Boone and everyone else for what started out as a little heated, contentious, and problem-solving work the way it should. And I'm glad that it's moving forward to the acceptance of everybody.
Anybody else? Any comments, questions? All right, John?
Let's move forward.
This doesn't have to be emergency, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Even with having to give authorization to the CIC?
Well, CIC will just hopefully authorize a condition upon you taking action at the next, hopefully the next council meeting, not tonight, but.
Okay. All right. Todd?
Yeah, fine, let's go for it.
Okay. Unanimous. Let's move forward with it.
Right.
Thanks.